What's up, everyone? This is BX Sports Jedi Kev from the Sports Jedi Network. We got some news here. Everyone knows the big news. Juan Soto goes to the New York Mets. The Yankees get burned, or is that a blessing in disguise? I'll ask that question right now. Here's my thoughts. The Yankees got a year of Juan Soto. They got to the World Series. He hit the game-winning home run that got him into the World Series. All these reports come out. A security guard back in April, May, escorted his mother or his father out of a certain area. His cab driver or his personal driver was left out in the rain. All these nonsense allegations of what sour Juan Soto. At the end of the day, the Mets pay them more money. He's got a $75 million signing bonus. His ABA for the first 5 years will be around $61 to $65 million. He has at the fifth year, he has an option to opt out. The Mets could opt him in, and they'll have to pay him $55 million for the remainder of the 10 years. All in all, it's about the big almighty dollar. Now, a lot of people are going to get mad at Hal Steinbrenner. Is he cheap? Why did he match it? There's a threshold when it comes to the Steinbrenners that they want to spend. They're a publicly traded company where shareholders, maybe he overstepped his boundary to go over that 760. That was reported. Maybe not. Look, Juan Soto is a young man at 26 years old. You're rarely going to get that kind of talented young man at that age, baseball player, to hit the free agency. I understand that, Yankee fans. But it's going to hamper the team to make other moves. Now, it doesn't mean that just because they don't sign every free agent this season, doesn't mean that they struck out on the Juan Soto, allowing him to move on. Just because you have or willing to spend money on Juan Soto doesn't mean you have to go out there like drunken sailors and spend on every free agent this season. You got to make the right choices. You got to make the right pickups. What are they? I wish I had that crystal ball to tell you. I know for one thing, I kind of want to see my New York Yankees get players to play the positions that they were drafted or they're in the major leagues for. I don't want to see my second baseman play third. I don't need my right fielder playing center field. I don't need guys out of position. I don't need to trade for an all-star third baseman and move him to first. I need guys to play at their normal position. If that's the case, there's Kyle Tucker out there from the Astros, left-handed hitter. He may not be a Juan Soto, but just listen, no one thought that when we traded Roberto Kelly for Paul O'Neill, and me myself, I remember a young man I was back in '92. I was very upset. Roberto Kelly just came out of an All-Star appearance, and the Yankees are trading Roberto Kelly for Paul O'Neill, a heavy left-handed hitter that fell out of favor with Lou Piniella. And look what it turned out for the New York Yankees. Well, Paul O'Neill, I'm not saying that Kyle Tucker will come to New York and become the next Paul O'Neill. You never know. His acclimates fits the stadium, left-handed bat. Maybe he'll hit you close to 40 home runs, 35 home runs. He may not be the political hitter that Juan Soto is, batting average wise, the command of the strike zone, all that intangibles, but he might be a just as good and a better defender in left field for the New York Yankees. Also, they have to let Dominguez play. Finally, because you got to do something with Dominguez. We hear a lot about Spencer Jones. These players come out with a lot of promise and a lot of hype, and they end up getting overripe in the minor league systems, and then they rot. They don't get the fruits of that player in their minor league system. Now they have to play him. If Spencer Jones is this big monster hitter that will benefit the lineup, bring him. Listen, Luis Gil, Rookie of the Year, Austin Wells, runner up. The Yankees have a lot of young nucleus on their team. They need to take the next step. Anthony Volpe, I think, to be honest with you, I'm going to be totally honest with you, this is his final, for me personally, this is his final year if he's going to be a real steady major leaguer, the Yankees are going to be looking for a shortstop. He's underwhelmed. He gives you flashes at times, but not consistent enough. I know this is year number 3. He shows prominence. He shows that he could be one of those hitters in the bottom of a lineup. I need us to know that he's a major league player night in, night out. Now, if he's an all-star, it's caveat, but he's a solid major league player. We need to know that night in and out. I'm still on the fence. I think he's 75% a major leaguer, but there's times that he looks a little lost. I'm watching him. I kind of need the Yankees to get a closer. Clay Holmes, everyone wanted him out. I understand he wasn't the closer for this team. We need to find a closer. I don't know how much money the Yankees are going to spend this off season. Maybe they have to get creative with the trade. Me personally, and I don't have the answers. I'm gonna give you my perspective, my opinion. There's no 100% accuracy they're going to do this, what I would like them. And I'm not going to go too crazy because they're not, I don't think they'll spend the money. Personally, I will bring in Bregman at third base. Rather than Tucker, I'd rather have Bregman at third base. You need a third baseman. I think they can fill the outfield position within. The third base position, the Yankees have not gotten a real good third baseman. They thought Donaldson was the answer a little over the hill. Bregman will bring that type of professionalism, winning culture, winning attitude, good hitter, solid hitter. And I look at this, and of course we like to look at the past a little to move to the future. I think of Bregman, the way he commands the strike zone with the balls and strikes, and I thought Juan Soto did a good job with that as well. I don't know if it rubbed up on the players. Reminds me of Wade Boggs, and I know Boggs was older in his career when he came to the Yankees, but he changed that philosophy, that culture, along with Buck Showalter, working the count, working the 3 balls and 2 strikes. That was a recipe of success for the dynasty. It wasn't a Joe Torre thing. It was actually a Buck Showalter thing that he started in '93, and of course the strike year in '94, and so forth. We look at the history. They take balls and strikes, works the count, and at those days get into the bullpen early and knock the starter out. I think that you can see the Astros kind of play that type of deal where they take a lot of pitches. No, they don't strike out. They put bat on ball. They swing. They make contact. Tough out, tough at bats. I think he brings that type of tenacity, toughness. If I had a wish list, I would bring Bregman, trade for uh, um, Cody Bellinger, and put them in the corner. And if the Yankees get a closer, that's it. And that's I know Max Fried is out there. I know that Corbin is out there. I don't know too much about Corbin if he's going to translate in New York City in a big market. And on the same thing I heard about Max Fried. If I had to pick one of the two, if you know me, I like the left-handed pitcher for Yankee Stadium. You also want to get players to accommodate your ball club. You got to get players that accommodate your ball club, take advantage of the short porch. If they're pitching, also you want opposing teams to have a heavy right-handed attack against your left-handed pitcher because of Death Valley out into left center field. You gotta also start getting players to your dimension of your ball club to benefit your strength. Also, they got to get strong up the middle. We enough of Judge playing center field, and Judge plays a really good center field, regardless of the fact he dropped that ball in the World Series. You know what? Mistakes happen. Broken clock is correct twice a day. Judge had one mistake, and of course, granted, in the biggest stage in the professional Major League Baseball, I understand it. But you gotta get them. You gotta get a bona fide center fielder. If it's gonna play Dominguez, then play Dominguez in center field. They need a bona fide center fielder. I gotta get Chaz Chisholm out of third base and put him at second base, his natural position. And go forth with that. Just get guys who play their natural position. Enough with the experimentation. Or he'll learn on the go. He'll learn on the fly. That's usually teams that are medaling around 500. And remember, before Juan Soto joined the Yankees, they were just over 500 a couple games. Juan Soto helped them, regardless of the fact he's not here or not, to get to the World Series and win the American League East. They could do that with a couple players if they want to if they want to go with the Bregman and they want to go with Bellinger at first. and they don't want to sign any of the pitchers, then get the young Japanese player. Listen, me personally, I am not a fan of the Japanese player. I'm gonna be totally honest. Why? I think their games are overhyped. I think you see a lot of their highlights and you think they're gonna. And I've been burned by. Listen, I don't think Tanaka was as great of a regular season pitcher, even than we think he is. I'm sorry. There was so much hype in Masahiro Tanaka, and to me, I got disappointed when he lost that playoff game to the Astros in the first year that he pitched in the postseason. And I soured majorly on the Japanese pitchers. That's just me. I soured because he looked like an ace. He had all this hype. Playoff time, the biggest playoff game, he laid an egg. And I know Luis Severino laid an egg too, and they all do their first. Andy Pettit laid an egg, and then he made up for it. But there's something about that. And then he came out with the UCL, and he pitched through there. I just don't think that they're overhyped. Look at um, so many of the pitchers. I just don't. It's just me. That's just my preference. Some people like others. Some people don't. I'm not a big fan of the Japanese or the Far East players. I don't, Shohei Otani is phenomenal. I still not. I wouldn't want him on my team either. It's just call me whatever. I just don't think their games. They don't transcend. I know Otani's doing crazy stuff there. Yes, I get it. Good for him. But if you guys want to get the Japanese pitcher to pitch for the Yankees, I'll cheer him on because he'll wear the pinstripes. But I'm not a big fan on it. I don't put too much stock in them to do anything major, transcending. That's just me again. You could agree, we could agree to disagree. And if the Yankees were go that route, then that's the way they should go. I think they should just be thankful they're not going to make. Don't go out there spending and making enormous deals because you have to compensate for losing Juan Soto to the fan base. Be smart about this. Be smart about this. Short-term deals. If you want to get some, and again, this is a young man's sport. We've seen it, and you have to develop. You have to scout and develop your players at the end of the day, because a lot of teams are now finding the formula when they have their young players. They buy their years of free agency, and they give them long term contract. A la the Braves. Some of the moves that the Guardians are doing. It's rare when you get a Juan Soto at that age being a free agent. I don't think you're going to see that trend in Major League Baseball. And I think teams are getting wise and smart with that. So the Yankees have to learn and develop, scout, and give their guys some chance to play. Don't just hear or either that or we're just a fan base that overhypes our prospects. How many years we heard about Dominguez, and Dominguez got to stay healthy himself. I understand he was brought up in that September and he was doing some great work and he had that injury. And yes, the Yankees were not going to make the postseason. They finished over 500. They weren't going to make the postseason, but Dominguez, we had a lot of promise. Then he got set back, he got injured again. He needs to stay healthy here in this upcoming 2025 season because I think the Yankees are going to have expectation with him. And if Spencer Jones is almost there, we got to think about bringing him. And this is where I get frustrated with the service time, where they're going to bring him, where they're not going to bring him. He's not a pitcher. He's a hitter. He's a ball player. They need a center fielder. If he's a center fielder, play the kid. Play the kid. And if they want to get an experienced outfielder, veteran outfielder, you got Grisham if he comes back or if he's still here. You want to bring another veteran outfielder who could play the corner position and all three positions, so be it. Then let's get that in there. And just in case Jones doesn't pan out right away or Dominguez get injured and so forth like that, I'll be all for that. So I'll hear your thoughts. It's not doom and gloom. I understand that we lost out a player in our prime to the Mets, which is a little bit of a sting, but the Yankees offered this money. Cohen offered more, was smart about the way he offered it with the signing bonus. I don't know if the Yankees offer a signing bonus. I'm going to look into this to find out if he did or didn't. And then we'll go from there. Yankees got to pivot. Simple. They got to pivot, make some smart trades. You got the Bellinger. You want to trade Nestor Cortez and some prospects for a Bellinger. you do it because Bellinger could also play center field. I don't know if it's going to cost Spencer Jones. Now that's another one. Do we move a Spencer Jones for Bellinger? That's debatable. That's another. We could debate about that. Who has the higher, more promise? But right now, Bellinger fits a need that the Yankees need: first base and occasionally center field. That's a catch-22 when it comes to Cody Bellinger for a Spencer Jones move there. You know, just hope that the front and I don't think the front office do things to appease the fan base immediately for the uproar. Just do smart moves. Maybe Soto saw that they had a first year manager, a younger executive in Stearns that got there that's highly touted by the baseball world, and he thinks that they're gonna be more fresh or more innovative in making their moves. And he saw the way the Yankees um, maneuver, the way they manage analytic wise, their recovery, all that stuff, scouting. He just probably said, you know what, I have a better chance of winning with the Mets. I got an owner that's willing to pay and spend money on players, and maybe I have his ear where I could bring an ex player or a former player to come play with me. I don't know. I just hope that Soto plays baseball, not wants to be pseudo GM in Cohen's ear, and we'll find out how that goes. 15 years here, what's the barometer for the Mets' success with Juan Soto? Is it one World Series, two World Series, playoff appearances? That's the Mets fan base to worry about. For us Yankees, we got to continue business as usual. Get continue being the excellence in the American League East, American League Championship Series, and getting back to that World Series and overcoming that loss with the Dodgers. Can they do it? Only time will tell. The moves that they'll do will find out the course of the New York Yankees. The American League East right now, it's division that could be won easily if they do the right moves to shore up the smart baseball moves. I know that Santander is out there. A lot of people do or do not like him. I'd rather have Kyle Tucker personally, the left-handed bat, but I don't know what they're spending. Again, I don't want to sound redundant. We already mentioned what our wish list is, and we'll find out where they go from there. So give it your thought in the videos. This is PX Sports Jedi Kev, the Bronx Bomber Strike Back podcast, and we thank you guys for my time, for allowing me to give you my thoughts on the Yankees and the Juan Soto move.